Hey everyone, welcome to Lioness Lifestyle Live. I'm Ellie from Nourishment Redacted, so happy to see you this evening.
Yeah, and I'm Cristie from Meeting Wellness. I'm so excited that you're here, and I'm happy to meet with you as well.
Now you might be noticing there's a lioness missing. Well, it's kind of like a good thing. Like Hayley got some tickets to see Dr. Jordan Peterson, and she was like, "I have to go," and we're like, "Yes, please go." And so she'll definitely be with us next week. I do want to ask you to get your questions ready for our awesome guests. Put those 3 Qs and question marks so that we can see it and we can get you up on the screen.
Absolutely. And that means it's time for this week's Roar of the Week. So we love it when during the replay, after the live is over, you guys go and comment. And then I go hunting through all those wonderful comments that you guys make. And I choose one to shout out in the next live episode. And so this week's Roar of the Week, Ellie, are you ready for this? Because it's our first two-parter. Two-parter. Okay, same person, two-part comment. So here it is. Sandra said, I think we all react to carbs differently. She, meaning our guest last week, mentioned her son with epilepsy. That was Kat last week. My seizure stopped with keto carnivore diet, no medication. I mean, that's fantastic. And then she continued watching and she said, I think this will help a lot of people. Thank you. So Sandra, thank you for being this week's Roar of the Week.
What a great comment. Like things like that just always get me so pumped up. So with that being said, I would love to bring out our guest for today.
Awesome.
Let's do it.
Hi.
Hey.
Hi.
It's Cammie. Hi, Cammie. Nice to see you.
Hi.
So happy to have you on the show. We were talking backstage, and I know we're going to have so much fun tonight. Can you please tell our audience about yourself, your health journey, all the way up to finding the carnivore diet?
Okay. Well, first of all, today is my 1-year carniversary. Today.
Happy carniversary. We need a big ribeye with some candles in it. We have none of that. Ellie's going to go get one for you.
I've been doing this a whole year, so I don't know if that makes me an expert or anything, but I've been experimenting on myself for a year, so that's a good thing. So my interest in health started when I was very young. I was about 10 years old and my mom got cancer. She was pregnant at the time and her baby died, and she's like, what is going on? And we found out that she had cancer, and she lived 8 years with surgeries and it was really, really traumatic for her kids. We had 5 siblings, and for her, it's no way to live with cancer like that. So she was only 37 years old when she got cancer. And then she died at the age of 44 after this, long time. So I'm only 10 years old to 17 years old. So my whole life has been, how do I not get cancer? I don't want to die like that. It was horrible. And so I thought that I was making healthy choices. I tried being vegan, I tried all these different things. But looking back now and knowing what I know about metabolic disease, I was already sick by the time I was a teenager. And I'm glad I didn't know, because I would have been freaking out knowing what I know. So as a teenager, I had acne, I had polycystic ovarian syndrome, irregular periods. As a teenager, I was already like 175 pounds as a teenager, and depression, which I thought, well, of course, my mom has been sick and she died, so that's why I'm depressed. But that wasn't. I was already physically sick from food. And then as an adult, continued on with polycystic ovarian syndrome causing infertility. We ended up adopting our 2 children. More weight gain, just continual weight gain. Bursitis in my shoulder and my hip, like so bad that I would cry at night and not be able to sleep. So, just all the things. Major depression. I was actually like so depressed. I was suicidal. I was hospitalized for 11 days. And, they were shocked to see me there. They're like, these are the cleanest labs we have ever seen. because I wasn't a drug user. I was just severely depressed, like so depressed. And then Hashimoto's thyroiditis. You know, my body is attacking my thyroid. Plantar fasciitis, heartburn, and prediabetes. So like, you know, all the things that people can have. I had them all. And so I got really, really heavy. So in last year, last year, I was like, I am done. I am going to do something new. I have to do something different. What I'm doing isn't working. I was doing intermittent fasting and it was working. My prediabetes got better. I did lose some weight, but it was slowly creeping back on. So it was creeping back on to the point of like in December, I was 237. In January, I was 241. In March, I was 244. So like 3 and 4 pounds a month. So a year later, I would have gained another 48 pounds by today if I hadn't done something different. But I did, and I've lost 53.6 pounds. So from what I would have been versus where I am, that's a 100-pound difference. I mean, I only lost 53 pounds. So sometimes you can look back and say, oh, other people have lost more. I didn't lose enough. But I'm not going to compare to that, because where I would be now if I hadn't changed, I would be in more pain. I wouldn't be able to move. I would have just gained a ton of weight. I would be so miserable and depressed. And I'm not. I wake up at 5 in the morning. It drives me crazy, but I am up at 5 and I can go all day. I don't need to sleep as much and I have more energy. And you know, in the morning when you come down the stairs, I can go every other foot.
Oh, okay. Just
you know what a miracle that is when you're 50. You know, I don't have to go down like an elderly person. I can go down every other foot, and I can jump on the trampoline with my daughter, and I can do things that I was eating my way out of being able to do before. A year ago, I was in a completely different place. And I have hope for the future. I know that I'm getting better. I'm not where I'm going to be a year from now. So have me back in a year, because it'll be completely different then. So that's my story. Is I just kind of looked online. I wanted to know what would be like fasting, but not fasting, because I couldn't fast anymore. I didn't want to be hungry. So I love
There's your pixel sighting. There's your pixel sighting, everyone. You knew it had to happen. Sorry about that, Cammie.
So I said, what would be like fasting? A fasting mimicking diet. And carnivore came up. And then you just start watching Sean Baker. You start watching Ken Berry. You start watching all the people. And you're like, this could work. This could work. Why have I been lied to about food all these years? And off you go. And that day, I just said, I will not eat anything other than meat. And I have not had a vegetable. I have had a little bit of fruit. And for my daughter's birthday, I made her the most delicious chocolate cake. And I ate some of that icing and I paid for it. And so I know what happens when I eat sugar. And so it's really easy to avoid it most of the time.
Absolutely.
Really most of the time. So that's my story.
So when you were fasting, what kind of fast, like what did that look like? So you were eating vegan, or you were eating standard American and fasting at the same time?
The more recent stuff was more everything.
Okay.
With intermittent fasting.
I mean, I have
5-day one time, and I got headaches. Like I wasn't ready. Yeah. Like that was too much too soon.
Yeah, I have a hard time fasting on carnivore. So I can't, and I'm like less hungry, less craving, all that stuff. So I can't imagine fasting, not being in ketosis.
Well, I had heartburn so bad, I thought I was going to die. And so that 5-day fast, my heartburn went away. My plantar fasciitis went away. I could walk again. Like I was like unable to walk. So when you're really sick, fasting, even the sickness you get from fasting is worth it if it heals those kind of things. So I just wouldn't do it again because I don't need to. I can eat and still feel well. So.
Yeah, it's definitely beneficial if you feel like you need to do fasting, because it gives your body a break. It gives your stomach a break, your brain a break. And then, it's so amazing how our bodies can heal themselves. And it feels so empowering to know that you can just change your diet and everything gets better. You were saying that you were having trouble walking. Is that because of your weight, or did I miss something?
It's the plantar fasciitis.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah. And, at that same time, I had a friend that had surgery on her foot, and I did a long fast, changed my diet, and mine went away. I hate it. I hate to see my friends get all these surgeries, and I'm like, it's just inflammation. If we just reduce the inflammation, you don't have to have that permanent surgery.
Yeah, absolutely. So you're not having trouble walking. In fact, I think you're a sprinter, Cami, which is how I actually found you. That's how I found you through a YouTube search months and months ago. I don't exactly remember when. And I was so excited because we're about the same age. Like, you're 50, I'm 48. And I was like, another just regular middle-aged, like, sprinting person that, is not an Olympian, but we just get out there and we do it. And I was so excited that I watched like all of your videos. And at that point, it was mostly like your sprinting ones.
Yeah.
And then I contacted you, like, I got to talk to this lady in person. So can you tell us a little bit, like, what inspired you to start sprinting, and why on earth did you decide to put that yourself doing that on a YouTube channel?
Dr. Sean O'Mara. I watched him, and you watch him and you're like, this is going to save my life. I'm going to sprint and it's going to be easy, but I was afraid, and I hadn't run in years. And I turned to YouTube, which is usually the source of all information. And there were no elderly ladies sprinting on YouTube. I couldn't find anybody that looked like me sprinting. So I just decided to film myself sprinting, because if I was going down, I was going to get like either America's Funniest Home Videos money or some other benefit. And I tried it, and it was like, I can do this. Mm-hmm. I can actually do this, because you do start so slow that you don't hurt yourself. You just go, and then for 6 to 10 seconds, you just go as fast as you can, which for me looked like somebody else's fast walk. Mm-hmm. But I was sprinting as fast as I could. And I'm still not fast, and I don't care. I try and do it 3 times a week, but like, I'll probably only do 2 times this week, and I'm not going to beat myself up about it. I'm just going to do what I can. Okay, I'm not elderly, but I was feeling elderly a year ago.
There we go. Look at all the support you got, Cami. Nobody thinks you're elderly around here. Absolutely. So just like it's not a carnivore weight loss competition. Like, your weight loss is amazing, especially considering all the healing your body also had to do. Like, your weight loss is incredible. We're not trying to out carnivore each other around here. And same thing, like, it's not a race. It's not a sprint race between you and anybody else. It's just how fast you can go, and are you doing your fastest? Yeah. And that's what I like about it. And I'm finding that I'm about to like run out of street before I run out of time, which lets me know I'm getting faster. Dang it. I'm going to have to turn the corner because I sprint on my street, which is it's a cul-de-sac, right? So it's only so long. So yeah, that was exciting. I was like, whoa, I like come to the, it kind of tees off into another street. And even though I'm out there at 5 a.m, I have to like make sure no cars are coming. Mm-hmm. Don't just dart out there. But
you're going to be running on the freeway soon.
Right? Just running down the freeway. So lately, haven't you been using tell us about your sprints? Because during the winter, right, you decided to do something a little different.
Yeah. So I am super cheap. I'm not going to join a gym. I don't have money for that. So we went down to the local thrift store, and out back, they had all this like equipment. They didn't even want to bring it inside. They're like, just take it. Just get rid of it. Take it. So I take this elliptical. There's no cord. It doesn't plug in. So it has no tension. And so I just get on it, and I just like a little on a wheel. And I just fling my legs as fast as I can. And that's a sprint to me. And
There
it
you go.
doesn't hurt your knees or anything. So it's kind of nice for the elderly.
Where's that comment? No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
It's fantastic. So I get my heart rate up, and I do 4 of them, and I just do it 3 times a week right on my porch. So I can put my coat on for 20, 30 seconds and I'm totally fine.
Charlie says carnivore sprinters will do well in the zombie apocalypse, which leads me to a question. Speaking of apocalypses, I know you, and you are like a little bit of the prepper mentality.
Yeah.
And I feel like I'm like a prepper. I don't want to say wannabe because that doesn't sound nice, but it's like I have aspirations, right? To like maybe start putting some things aside. And kind of start that process. And when I watch you like can your food and all of that, I mean, you just make it look like easy and like it might be. Look at this. Do you see this? She can.
What is it?
Yeah, tell us a little bit about that. So how did you get into that, and how has it changed since you've gone carnivore?
I used to do peaches and jam. Oh my goodness, we have so much jam for years, but that's pure sugar. So I don't want to eat that anymore. So we have hundreds of jars of food downstairs that I can't eat. So
oh man,
I got to figure out what to do with all that. But so I have done a lot of like rabbit stews because we raised meat rabbits for a while, and all kinds of like things mixed with meat. But then I'm like, no, I'm carnivore. So from now on, I want to do just meat. So I have been experimenting. So these are deer hot dogs.
Okay. Cool.
They're not the best. They're honestly not the best because they're a little mushy. But, when you have to outrun the zombies, this will fuel your body.
Yeah. During the apocalypse, no one cares about presentation or even taste, really. It's just about pure nutrition at that point.
If my choice is the power's going to go out and I'm going to lose everything in my freezer versus, but the hot dogs will be mushy, I'm going to take the mushy hot dogs, and that's fine. So this was deer bologna that I decided to try canning. I haven't tried these. I'm assuming they'll be a little mushy too, but they're a little more flavored, so they'll probably be okay. This is my cat food. So hamburger with beef or organs, like heart, liver, and tongue, and things like that. So I just pre-cook it and can it. And my cats are carnivore. I have saved, one of them would be dead if I hadn't switched over. She lost a ton of weight. She plays with her tail and flips, and she plays like a little kid again. She was tubby and ill. So we do that. That's the cat food. This is a pork loin.
Okay.
Pork loin is actually pretty good. It's a lot like chicken, which this is the chicken.
Speaking of chicken.
I love how you have all these jars prepared for us so we can like go, ooh.
Yeah, that's cool.
I'm impressed.
It's like show and tell.
Like cool. It just melts, and I put the chicken in like a bone broth, and then I crack an egg in there to make like a egg drop soup with chicken. And I think it's fabulous. But again, I'm not a foodie and I'm not a creative cook, so my husband probably wouldn't love it. And then these are hamburger patties.
Oh, that's cool.
Wow, you can can anything.
Patties. It seems like you can the flavor. They're not as delicious, but they're convenient. They're convenient.
Yeah.
And you don't have to thaw something out the night before, and you can still have food. So for me, I choose convenience a lot of the times, but
that's amazing. I have a slight background with prepping and being prepared for the worst. And I sometimes I get into this like scarcity mindset that like everything is going to go, I don't know, become destroyed again. Like, I don't know how else to say it without cursing. But, I think it's interesting that you are a prepper, but then I also see that on your channel, like you like to pursue minimalism. So I would think that you prioritize the space for all of these like prepped items, right? And how do you combine like minimalism and carnivore? Because I think when just thinking back to this, it's like when I used to buy so much stuff, and then I slowly started doing like KonMari, and then like I found the minimalists, and I really started to like think about what I wanted to prioritize in my life. And then at the same time, you can say that carnivore is the same thing too. We remove all the excess stuff that is clogging our minds and our houses, you know, and our bodies, obviously. And then we prioritize what is truly important. And so I would love to know what you think about that, because I think cooking's a lot easier on carnivore. There's less steps. It's just so, I'm lazy by nature. I say that all the time. But I was curious about how you see the parallels between minimalism and carnivore.
Oh,
I see
so many. It's just, I wish my whole family was eating carnivore so that we could just purge the kitchen, the fridge, like everything would be so much simpler just to have the few choices. It would be nice. I would clean out the whole kitchen. I'm far better at prepping and carnivore than I am at minimalism.
Okay.
So I'm still working on that. Like right now, we want to move to land. We do not have a contract. We have some property that we want, but they're not even selling it yet. I'm trying to insinuate myself into their life that they'll want to give me this land or sell it to me. So I'm packing up my house right now as if I'm moving in 2 months.
You're visualizing it.
This is like an epic minimalist activity, right? Like you just pack it up like you're moving. And then if I move, yay. If I don't move, then when I unpack, I can go, I did not use this for 4 months. I did not want this back in my life. I think it's a great chance to do this. I'm excited.
So when you have your land, when you get your land, what are you going to do with all that land?
It's 3.8 acres, so it's not a ton. There's 2 houses, and we're having another family from Columbus. They're going to move up here with us. And he has done animals in the past. So we would do a lot of chickens. So tons and tons of eggs and maybe 1 or 2 cows. So I think that'll fit on that land. And it's next door to an Amish guy that I drive for. So we might be able to purchase a few extra acres from him at some point in the future, maybe. So maybe, I mean, that's all you really need is your dogs, your cats, not to eat.
No.
and your chickens and your beef, and everything else from that is just a bonus, maybe in the future. But
yeah, those are really cool aspirations. I think, you know, when I retire from teaching, I would like to maybe not, I mean, probably I wouldn't go so far as to say a cow, but maybe to get, I mean, you know, that's pretty high hopes there, but you know, at least some chickens for the eggs and things. I think that would be really cool. Bruce would like to know, what do you feed your carnivore cat? I love to get our cats off dry kibble.
So our cat had the crystalline in her urine, and she was really sick. We had a cat die like a couple months before that of the same thing. And so we knew like this is going to kill her. So we just like kibble gone. And I had tuna in the house. So I started giving her tuna. And then we started buying chicken and grinding the raw chicken. And I started feeding her that immediately. I watched a bunch of videos, and some people are like, and you have to put this additive and this additive and this additive and make it super complicated. And I'm like, I can't do that. I can't handle that. I'm just going to do raw meat. And she has done fabulous. The only thing I supplement is I make sure that I do some organs, a bunch of meat, as little fat as possible. So like the fat on here, I scrape all that off, and then I cook with it later so it doesn't get wasted. And I give my dogs and my cats iodine. I give them a drop of iodine every day, and they are doing fine. My dogs are growing like crazy. My golden retrievers, they look beautiful. They love raw meat. They are meant to eat raw food. Or even cooked, right? Like cooked meat. They want meat.
I think it's so funny how they're like, you have to add all these additives. Yeah, like a cat is in the wild, like, you know, they're all feral and stuff, and they're like, oh, let me go to the pharmacy and no, that doesn't happen. Excuse me.
You know, I figure, you know, they're true carnivores. So I'm a carnivore, but I'm also an omnivore. I can live on plants somewhat. But if I'm getting everything I need from meat, and they're true carnivores and they eat only meat in the wild, wouldn't they get everything that they need from meat?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, that does make sense, Cammie. So you mentioned iodine, and I was excited about that because I just watched, and I don't know the other doctor's name, but Dr. Berry interviewed another doctor very
Brownstein?
recently, maybe, I think so, about iodine. Okay, so how did you get interested in iodine? What dose of iodine are you doing? Have you noticed benefits from it? And after watching that, if you watch that video, because I've considered upping my number of drops of iodine after I've been considering that after watching that video. So can you talk a little bit about your iodine experience?
So, Nutrition with Judy talks about iodine. That doctor who lives in France,
Elizabeth Bright.
yes, she talks about iodine. Yeah, Dr. Brownstein. There's a lot, and there's a lot of Facebook groups. People have been using iodine to heal people for decades. Like, it's this thing that we have not known about. I think it's like there's healing similar to what Carnivore does occurring just from iodine. So if you combine giving your body everything it needs while removing all the carbs and the things that your body doesn't need, you are like, just stand back and let the miracles come on. I don't know. I can't separate what is going right for me from the Carnivore. I don't know. But I feel so good. Like, why stop? And I have a 2%, Lugel's 2%, and I do like 6 drops. I don't know if that's a good dose or not. I heard about a salt flush. So I'm like at that dangerous level of information. Like, I'm just doing stuff and I don't know what I'm doing. But I heard you're supposed to do a salt flush. Like, you take the iodine and it goes in and it replaces the bromine in your body. Like, every cell has an iodine receptor. So it kicks out the bromine, which is a toxin. And you now have iodine on your cells. But now you've got all this bromine floating around in your body. So you drink the salt flush and it just takes it away so it doesn't keep bothering you. So I'm drinking a lot of salty water, maybe more than I should. I don't know. I still feel good. So I'm doing a lot.
So Nia says she's doing 3 drops of 2% a day and she thinks it's helping. So since October, I've been doing 2 drops of the 2% a day. And for the last 2 or 3 days since I watched that interview, I did up it to 3 drops because I was like, well, I mean, one more drop, because I'm hoping it's going to help with like my thyroid issues that my lab panel kind of sort of only halfway illuminated because she didn't do all the tests, but some of the numbers were wonky. And so, I'm with you, Nia, at 3 drops right now, but I was just wondering what other people were doing. I think he talked about 2 drops, but of like the 5%, the 5% iodine. So obviously, I don't know what the difference is either, like in dosages, but obviously 5 is more than 2. So I would think that 2 drops, I don't know what the equivalent is. If you're doing the 2%, what the equivalent would be to
I know
that. But
I could check. I just haven't.
I have a
question about that. So I don't know anything about supplementing for iodine. So is that something you have to slowly build up over time? Like, you can't just go 5%. Like, I'm just curious. Oh, you don't know. Okay,
so I don't know. So what I started with was what I think Dr. Berry or maybe what Nisha was doing, which is the 2% and 2 drops a day. And I just put it in my coffee. And when it's in my coffee, I don't taste it at all. So I know you don't drink coffee, Ellie. So it's pretty strong flavored. Like, you'd have to find something that you can put it in.
I'm not too sure if I necessarily need it. Like, what are like some signs? If you want to show some signs for maybe Hashimoto's or low thyroidism.
So it's not just about the thyroid. I would recommend that you go watch that video. It's very recent on Dr. Berry's channel, like a few days ago, because you'll learn a ton. But every cell needs iodine. And the part of the problem is with the fluoridated water. And like Cammie said, use bromine. Those things are in everything now. And what happens is they compete with the iodine for that receptor. So you need like more iodine so that the iodine can come in and compete and kick out the fluorine and kick out the bromine, because when you have those two, it like messes you up. And Nia Nia thinks that Dr. Berry said you'll know if it's too much if your throat gets scratchy or tingly.
So this is something that's like generally recommended for everybody.
Yeah, yes. Everybody should be getting some. There's places where they've introduced iodine and the IQ of the population goes up.
I can get smarter. I need that.
Like literally cures. Well, not like in the next generation, but probably no. There was even a case where a guy, they gave it to him and he got smarter because your brain just needs it, and your breasts, women's breasts use up. So your thyroid and your breasts are competing. So for me, you know, I don't have breast cancer. I have a thyroid issue. So my breast won.
Right.
But maybe somebody else, they don't have thyroid, but they have breast cancer. So, you know, their thyroid won. But you don't want it. Why should I let my body compete? Just give it all it needs. Just give it enough. I've kind of become like the iodine dealer out here for the Amish in my area.
Yeah. Do you want to share that story? Because you did have a story on one of your videos. It was fascinating. Can you share that here about the Amish girl?
Yeah. So this lady called me and was like, you know, can you give me a ride? And I'm like, sure. So she was taking something to her daughter who had mastitis after her baby was born. And, you know, she also had mentioned that she was having thyroid issues, but like a goiter, but she couldn't get into a doctor for months and months. And I'm like, I think you should give her iodine. And I'm like, I will order it for you right now. So I ordered 8. So I would just have a bunch. And I told her about how important iodine was, and that, you know, that iodine literally is what the goiter is growing, is to hoard iodine. And so if you give it all the iodine it wants, it'll go away. So I like got it to her as quick as I could. I haven't heard back. I kind of want to drop by her house and see how it's going. But so the mom was like, yeah, I'll buy one for my daughter and I'll buy one for me. The Amish are so open. They have not been brainwashed by the medical community. They don't trust doctors. So if I come in and say something, they're very open to, oh, okay, let me try that. So I've sold a couple to other people that have had endometriosis. I'm like, okay, let's try this. Let's see what we can do. If we can help you, let's help you. And I also tell them about Carnivore a lot. So we'll see.
That's great. Thank you for doing that.
Yeah, that's so cool. If you get an update on that girl, I'm dying to know about her goiter and if that went away and if it helped her. I wanted to ask you, because the thing on your channel that's been I'm like salivating for the next episode is your Carnivore. What did you have a long name? Carnivore Shop No More.
Oh yeah.
Freezer Pantry Perch. Did I get it right?
Yes.
See, you can tell. I watch them. I do. They're very like, I don't know why stuff like that intrigues me. Can you tell us a little bit about that? What was the goal behind it, and what have you learned and discovered?
Well, so there's a lady, she does the Three Rivers homestead, and she does a pantry challenge every year. And she's, you know, like a religious homeschooling, homesteading, like, I want to be this woman.
Me too.
Kind of woman.
Please, Lord in heaven, bestow upon me the powers of being a traditional homestead wife.
She's amazing. And they do this every year. They don't shop for January, February, and all of March. And I was like, you've got to be kidding. So the first year I tried it like 3 weeks. That was all we could do before we had to go to the store. And so I really like the idea. You know, you get food in your freezer, but you tend to just eat what you buy, right? And you never end up going down into the basement to get the things that are down there. And my freezers, I have so many freezers and so much food that we never use it. But now we have to, because we can't shop. And so it is fantastic. So I'm eating things like this. We're getting into the freezer, and I'm turning freezer food into canned food. And it's been a lot of fun. The only time we go shopping is for my daughter and for my husband. We had friends over for Indian food. So of course he had to go shopping and blew the whole budget for 2 weeks on on delicious Indian food. And now he's sitting on the couch and he's like, I have to go carnivore. I have to, because he's gaining weight. He's not going to lose weight or feel better eating whatever he wants. But so it's been a lot of fun. I've learned a lot, and I just hope somebody else tries it, because until you try, you have no idea what you can do with what you already have. It makes you more creative. It makes you get in there and try all the weird things.
I love that kind of content. Like I just eat it up. I'm like,
Yeah.
yes, make things harder. Give me struggle. I want to struggle because like I said earlier, I tend to be lazy and I like to have a heart that's full of thankfulness. And it's like sometimes I forget everything because I'm spoiled and I just want to know what it's like to live life for real. And so I think that's so cool that you're doing that. You have
Well,
to
and
teach
you
me
have all
things.
this food, prepped and put away, and it lasts a long time, but it doesn't last forever. So like eventually you have to turn it over or it's just going to go to waste. So that's awesome that you're going back and like using all that up, and then you can like prep new stuff, like you're cleaning out your jars and everything, and you can prep new stuff to have ready in case it's ever needed, you know?
And all my empty jars are now going back down full of meat. They're all getting filled in a different way. So and beans, because I have tons of beans. So I am doing canning beans. But you know, if we can't get food, I will eat beans. I will eat whatever is available that I've already prepared. So
starvation foods.
Yeah. It's the starvation plan.
So I know that you and your husband did a lion diet. Was it lion diet or carnivore diet? I think it was a lion diet challenge for a week a while ago. So how, like, can you tell us about that? And then based on that, do you think he'll ever, like, will he ever go carnivore? Like, would he do that? Do you think?
He's more of a foodie than I am. He loves that variety and he wants the flavor. I ate a can of ravioli every day for lunch for like 2 years when I worked as a kid. I do not need variety. If it works for me, I can eat it.
I'm laughing because I relate so much.
I just have no need for that, but he does. And so, you know, going from kind of eating whatever to straight lion diet, he was not well. I laughed a lot. It was funny because I'm sitting here going, well, it's easy. It's just do it. You know, I don't understand, but I have a lot of friends that are like my husband. And so I don't even know how to relate. Like, I can't figure it out.
Yeah, he totally is a foodie.
Well, lion is so much more, narrow in scope than carnivore, because if he's carnivore, he doesn't just have to eat the same thing every day. Like he could do chicken, he could do pork, he could do beef, he could do lamb, he could do, eggs. There's like a million things that aren't on lion, that he could do. So that's why I was asking, like, if he would maybe go to that, because I think he lost quite a bit of weight that week.
Oh yeah, well, he's a man. They like think about losing weight, and they lose 20 pounds, and no, he would totally lose a bunch of weight. He's never been as sick as I've been. He's
I was going to ask,
motivated, not motivated the same way.
Yeah. So speaking of that, you talked about, your depression. I would just like to talk a little bit more about how that affected you and what effect that had on your family, and then how that's going now.
I'm doing fantastic now. But this is really hard. It's really hard. And it's hard not to be bitter about it because, this food that is being thrust upon us actually against our will. If you asked anybody, they would never say, yes, put all of this horrible toxins and blah, blah, blah in every single thing that I eat so that I can't avoid it unless I am a crazy, crazy prepper carnivore lady. Like nobody can do what I do. I am home all day, every day. And I work on this stuff every day. Anyway.
No, I understand that frustration. There's anger there. There is. And it's like, we're going to have to mourn the lost time that we've had. So I've been there. I totally understand that. Please
there are consequences. There are consequences from being really depressed because you can't always take care of your kids. And I had these two beautiful kids that I was not there for in the way that they needed. I couldn't cope with what they needed me to be able to cope with. And they weren't well either because of the food that I was feeding them because I didn't know any better. We were all sick together. And as they started growing up, it got harder and harder and harder. And with my oldest, who is 24, she won't talk to us. We don't see her. She has a baby, and I haven't seen this baby in 2 years. She thinks things about me that I don't think are true. I don't think I'm a hateful, awful, mean person, but she's so hurt by how our mental health was then. And she's not eating the right way now, and other things aren't going right in her life to be able to deal with it and to resolve that pain. It's not just being overweight. There's consequences to not being well that are long lasting. And my other daughter, who's 18, I love my girls, but they struggle, and she is off on her own, doesn't want to be home. She will talk to us on occasion, but it's not that relationship where you're calling her up every day and getting the rundown. And she's got a lot of physical and mental problems that I don't know if carnivore would cure, but I won't get the chance now to find out if her health problems and her mental issues would have been better. Would she be better off if I had fed her the right way? And there's just so much regret. It's a lot of regret and sadness. And I'm trying with my 11-year-old to help her. So the 11-year-old was a surprise pregnancy. My first two are adopted. And then due to metformin, so I am grateful for the medication that came before I knew about carnivore. I did get this miracle pregnancy, but I was super sick, and she was born early, and I had gestational diabetes. I wish I could have had a carnivore pregnancy. Like, what would that happen? Like, would she has some issues. Would she be different if I had had a carnivore pregnancy? What if we had all lived 100 years ago and all ate good? What would our lives be like now? So I try not to dwell on that. And for the most part, I am totally happy, because I know that in the next life, things will be okay. So I don't grieve constantly all the time. I really do have hope in the next life. But, when you come on a show like this and you have to let people know the real consequences of suffering with severe depression for decades, you can't mess around with that. You got to take care of yourself so you can be there for your kids. So you can be there for yourself. So you can be there for your husband. I'm surprised we're still married. Like, we had some rough times, and now things are great. He is my best friend. We have a fabulous relationship that I wouldn't trade for anything. So it gets better.
Oh my gosh.
Wow.
That's a lot. And I want to give you some validation and my sincere, I'm so sorry that you've been struggling, with the family relationships and stuff, but you just have to kind of take it day by day and realize that you're going towards a better place. If we are constantly thinking about the past, we can't look forward to what is to come, and then we become stagnant and bogged down, and dark thoughts consume us. So I want to congratulate you that it sounds like this has been the best year of your life. Happy carniversary again.
Yeah.
And you're taking control of your house, you're taking control of your life, and you're influencing not only yourself, but the community as well. Those Amish, they wouldn't have known about the iodine without you. So I just wanted to give you a big internet hug, because you're doing it. You're doing the dang thing. So
I do feel like I'm more in control than I ever have been in my life. It feels really good. Like, I can count on myself finally to do something good for me.
Oh my gosh, I feel that's so hard. Because I suffered with depression and panic attacks too, and it's like you just feel like a leech. You feel like you're just dragging all these people with you, and you don't feel like you're worth it. And then it's like all of a sudden you start eating differently, and then you're like, oh, I actually like myself. What is this? I recently made a video about how carnivore has I used to hate myself before carnivore, and that was so true. Every day I would wake up and I would just it was keto first, but I made the video about carnivore, and it was just there is just this magic. It's you put the right fuel in the tank, and then you can go for miles. It's just so that's why we have these YouTube channels, so that we can promote all these wonderful, wonderful things. Like, it's no matter how small, you know, it's like something small for you can be a huge change in someone else. It's just so cool. Sorry, I'm getting all emotional, but
you know what? I used to be waiting for someone to save me. You know, maybe it'll be my husband. Maybe he'll find something. Is there a doctor? Is there a program? Is there a medicine? Something has to come and save me because I can't live like this forever. And I waited and I waited and nobody came to save me. Nothing came to save me. Yeah. And then just hanging in there and finding the things. Intermittent fasting helped a ton. Actually, for me, water kefir got whatever bacteria I was missing, got into my system. That helped me a ton. Those things got me to a place where I could even have the capacity to research more and find out about carnivore. Depressed people, they don't have the capacity to find what's going to save them, which is carnivore. They don't have the capacity to switch out all by themselves. It's hard work, but I don't need to be saved anymore. Like, I'm on the right path. It feels just so good.
Yay! Yeah, that's awesome. And I know, you know, you just have this personality. You're lit up from the inside. And I mean, I enjoy your content because of that, because you're like a real person, but you just like exude this, like, I don't know, this spirit of kind of joy. And, you know, you're just, you know, fun to watch because of that. And so, yeah, Nia's saying such a powerful story. So it's like, I wouldn't know. I mean, I wouldn't know. I only know you from the day I found your YouTube channel, right? I didn't know you before. But like, I certainly wouldn't have, you know, guessed that you had been in such a dark place because, you know, you shine now. And so thank you. I'm glad that you made your channel. I'm glad that we, you know, got to meet, even if it was just through the through the internet. Because yeah, your content is awesome. I enjoy you as a person. I feel like we become friends, and I'm so happy for you. And having your carniversary, you know, I've got a few months to go until mine. You know, to see. Oh, speaking of your channel, her channel is great. You
might
guys
as well do it. Just you do it, Cristie. Go.
We're out of order. We're out of order, Ellie.
I know. I'm sorry. It just seemed appropriate.
It is appropriate. I'm teasing you. So I actually found her because of all the sprinting stuff that's on there, and then Cami really branched out into, like, you see the Carnivore Shop No More, you know, challenge there, and yep, she's just doing her thing, using up all that food and sprinting, and she talks about how she helps the Amish and she drives them and she interacts with that community. It's just a really cool channel. I enjoy it a lot. And she's almost to 1,000 subscribers, you guys. She's getting close. Last I saw, she was in the 900s. So if you haven't subbed to Cami, she's almost to that magic number. So thank you, Charlie. Charlie said, just subscribed.
Perfect. Thank you.
Yep, absolutely.
I usually hype the channel, but I was like, Cristie's doing such a good job. Like, please. Yeah, I'm going to put your link in the channel, in all the chats as well.
Nice.
It's so weird seeing my own face on YouTube like that.
Yeah. Isn't it odd? Like, yeah. I know when I hit 1,000 subscribers, I had a few days of like, I had this like responsibility, like this weight of responsibility. Like, that's 1,000 people. Did you feel that, Ellie? I don't know why that when that number turned over 1,000, I was like, okay, this is serious, you know? Yeah.
For me personally, it's like the first, I think it was like the first 500. I was just like, holy moly, what is happening? Like, you know, like coming from a place of depression, kind of tying it back to our conversation, you know, it's like coming from a place of depression and not thinking that I'm worth anything, to like people going, you know what, you might know something. You might make me, you know, like, I don't know, spark an idea or inspire me or whatever. It feels good. So I want everyone to subscribe. It's an order.
So I wanted to ask you a little bit before we spin our meaty wheel. When you talk about the Hashimoto's, like, do you see a doctor specific to that? And like, how are your numbers doing in terms of that? Like, is it getting better? Is it the same? Is it like, how's that going?
I was seeing an endocrinologist, but she
Okay.
would not run any tests beyond the ones that she thinks are important. And she was really hostile towards carnivore. And I never even told her I was taking iodine because I think she would have flipped out. So I found a doctor closer to home, and I'm just like, will you just run the test for me every once in a while? And so I'm just going with a DO, like a family practice kind of guy, because the specialist,
They're special.
they're special, but they don't know. I don't know.
I'm starting.
It's frustrating. It's very frustrating that they, I don't know. Don't want to say bad things, but it's frustrating. So I'm just going to kind of go alone, but I know that I'm still having reactive autoimmune reaction. So, and I have heard that even with iodine and thyroid, it can take 2 years. So I only started that in August. So I'm just going to chill out. I am constantly worrying about it, but I just am going to chill out and let my body heal. It's taken 50 years to get where I'm at. Let's give it at least 2.
Right.
Get where
Hey, Mike.
And in comes Mike. Yes. Hi, Mike. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So I just know my thyroid numbers were a little wonky. And my doctor, you know, she was actually going to retest them, but she wasn't going to do any more tests. Not that I asked for them. All of a sudden, out of the blue, she was like, we're going to retest you after 3 months. And she was really just focused on my cholesterol. So I'm not planning on getting those bloods drawn. So I'm just waiting to see if she's going to call me out on that or what's going to happen. But I feel like it really is time to switch doctors, because I feel like I probably should be monitoring, you know, the thyroid, get all the tests done and kind of really see what's going on with that. But I know that she's just going to, you know, that the LDL is what she really wanted to do. And then she was like, we'll also check your thyroid and your vitamin D again. But it was the LDL that she really wanted to know. Not that I would take the statin. That would be her next thing, is you need the statin now, because I didn't, you know, lower it.
I feel like to get good care, you legitimately have to have somebody read your labs that understands carnivore. Like no doctor in the world knows what a healthy person should be functioning like. They have no experience with it. We can't expect them to know.
Yeah.
Because they've never experienced it. We need doctors that, like Rivero or, you know, all these places that'll just read your labs, but they know how carnivore bodies are working. That's where we're going to have to go to get decent care.
Yeah.
Or at least a low carb mindset.
Yeah.
At least.
Yeah. At least.
Yeah.
Which is probably more likely.
Right. So that the whole appointment isn't taken up with, what do you eat? What do you eat? Like, no, I want to know about my health. What else is happening? We need that specialist. We need to know.
Yeah. So how is your daughter doing? You said you're trying to help her, and I know I know you've been like, you know, you last time we spoke about this, she was accepting like the little bribes that you would do to like get the protein. Like you would bribe her to get a little bit of protein. How's that going? Is her mind opening to protein anymore, or?
She still hates it. And I've gotten lax. I've gotten a little bit lax. What I need to do is make the carnivore bread so that I can still feed her bread, garlic toast, you know, all the breads, but it be carnivore bread. So I haven't tried that. She's not open to new flavors and new tastes. And so I'm just going to have to try it and see. But I do tend to bribe her, and I say, if you eat this hamburger, I won't bug you for the rest of the day. I won't nag everything you eat.
I will lay off.
Yes. You have to have protein and fat every day. So I really do try it. And so it's a meat stick. It's a hot dog. It's an egg, whatever I can get her to eat.
That's better than nothing. Like I talk to a lot of moms who feed their kids meat-based. I don't know if you know, I have a podcast on my channel. Oh, thanks for watching. And so it's like, that's a really big passion project of mine, to like just get kids to eat more meat and less of everything else. And I have a picky eater too. Yeah. And I'm going to tell you, something I read recently was like, children who tend to be more picky and prefer bland foods like bread, rice, you know, all that stuff, they tend to have their gut microbiome probably needs like a probiotic or something like that.
I
Maybe
do
that would
kefir. I do kefir. I'll have her
True.
start drinking some kefir and kraut. We do homemade sour
Okay,
cream.
good.
There you go. Yeah.
That might be something that would help.
She's getting the message because everywhere we go, she sees people that are unwell and she's like, they need more meat.
Yes. That's
And
the best. That's a mom win.
She tells her friends that vegetables aren't healthy and they have these little arguments. I'm like, maybe we shouldn't tell our friends that.
It's like saying Santa Claus isn't real.
So this comment came in earlier, but talking about, if you have kids in school, it's like they don't really have a choice. I had a student the other day come to me. It was like 2:00 and school gets out at 2:19. So we're talking like 15 minutes basically before dismissal. And he goes, "Can I go to the health office?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "Because my mom called and she's supposed to have a snack in there in case I get lightheaded. And I'm a little bit lightheaded." And I said, "Come out here with me, sir." And so we went out into the hallway. And I said, "What did you eat today? Like, did you eat lunch?" That was my first question. "Did you eat lunch?" "No." "Okay. Why didn't you eat lunch?" "Because I ate a bunch of sugar." Like, this is what he's telling me. And I said, "Really? When did you eat a bunch of sugar?" And well, that's what they gave us at breakfast. It was like this cookie. That's what he said to me. I don't know what breakfast was that day. I didn't see it. And then I said, "Okay, well, you ate that cookie at breakfast, and then why didn't you eat lunch?" "Well, because then I still didn't want any because of the cookie, but now I feel lightheaded." And I said, "Okay." So I said, "First of all, no, I'm not going to send you to the health office 15 minutes before the end of the day. Like, go home and get a healthy snack, make it a cheese stick, make whatever you're allowed to make." Because I'm pretty sure he just walks himself home and there may or may not be anyone there when he gets there. I'm not 100% sure, but I said, whatever you can get that you can make for yourself and I don't mean a bowl of cereal. I mean, whatever it is, if it's a cheese stick or whatever it is. And I gave him some examples and I said, and here's the other thing: at lunchtime, if you don't feel like eating whatever is on your plate that's protein, I want you to at least try to eat some of that, because then at the end of the day, you won't feel lightheaded. And then I forget what he said. He said, "Do you mean like the salad?" I think that's what he said. And I said, "No." I said, "I don't mean the salad." I said, "Do you know what happens when you just like eat a bunch of sugar?" And he's like, "No." And I said, "Well," I said, "you're going to go in and it's going to burn hot and fast and you're going to have a bunch of crazy energy and you might even get really, really hyper. And then you're just going to crash. And that's why you're crashing right now and you're feeling dizzy and lightheaded right now." And I said, "But if you eat protein, the same thing doesn't happen. So at school, you might, like, if they serve a cheeseburger that day, just if you want the whole thing, eat the whole thing, sweetie, if you're hungry. But if you don't feel super hungry, take the patty out, just the meat, and just eat that. That's the protein. So anything that's like that, if they're serving chicken, if you've got it, sometimes they'll have a cheese stick, like whatever that is, even if you don't feel hungry, see if you can get a few bites of that protein in your belly. And I promise you in the afternoons, you won't be feeling like this anymore." But I think it was a 15-minute conversation. And I was wondering if I was overstepping. Like I was trying, like I said, eat your whole lunch if you want. Like I didn't tell him not to eat carbs anymore, but I was just trying to let him know. It's like, oh my gosh, this poor kid, he ate whatever the school fed him for breakfast. He didn't feel hungry at lunch. And now he's crashing and he's having, he's like 9 years old. He's in 4th grade because I have a 4-5 combo this year. He's one of my... Yes. And he's like, this kid does not need any more. Trust me when I tell you, this kid does not need any more problems in his life. So I'm just like, I think he took it on board. I think he did. I probably should check in with him tomorrow. "So did you eat your protein?" Like I didn't check in today. This happened on Monday and I should have checked in with him today and I didn't. So I'll make it a point tomorrow to say, "Okay, what protein did you eat when you had your lunch?" So you don't get, feeling woozy at the end of the day. But
good job, Cristie.
Oh my goodness gracious.
10 points for Cristie's comma.
Oh my goodness. Well, anyway, yes, Deb, it is sad. A lot of them don't know, and we have to go over this at state testing time. And I'm like, I want you guys eating protein for breakfast. Your homework is to get a good night of sleep and have some protein at breakfast before you come to school, because the school is not going to serve them any, you guys. It's Lucky Charms for breakfast when they come to school. So, yeah. Well, sorry, I sort of took our last few minutes, but Cammie, are you okay if we spin our meaty wheel before we roar our way out of here? Okay, cool. So she has time. So we're going to go ahead and put up the meaty wheel for you here. And I'm going to give this a spin, and we're going to spin you a meaty question. All right. Do you ever experience cravings for carby foods?
Good
And if
question.
so, how do you manage them?
Okay. Yeah, I do. Like every day I crave, it's more like cold slushy. I used to be addicted to like the Coke slushies.
Oh.
So the way I satisfy my cold slushy is we bought a blender for Christmas and I blend up ice with a teeny bit of vanilla and 2 raw eggs. And it literally tastes like eggnog. It's just raw eggs blended up with ice and water. And it's cold and slushy. And my body, I haven't tested to see if my body reacts with an insulin. I should probably do that. But it satisfies that desire for sugar. Occasionally, I will put like a little disc of banana in there. And when I do that, I'm like, this thing is so sweet. Just a little banana. Like, that's all I need. And you know that's not the best, but it's also not going to kill me to do a teeny bit of that if it keeps you from eating cookies and brownies and other things. So that's what I do.
That's a good answer. I've heard you tell me about that egg thing before, and I haven't tried it yet. I'm curious just to see what it tastes like.
I was surprised. Like, it grosses me out thinking about eating a raw egg. Like, really seriously grosses me out. But I am doing it, and it's totally delicious.
Well, Mike says that's brilliant, Cammie. So absolutely.
What a great answer.
Yeah.
So Cammie, I think we had Cristie and I had a wonderful time getting to know you better and having like a great time with you. I hope that everyone is ready because I'm going to be taking Hayley's spiel, but her job.
Yeah, if you guys came in late, Hayley had tickets to see Dr. Jordan Peterson, so we gave her the night off. I'm sure you all understand.
All right, everyone. So I want to get everyone's roars ready. Write it in the comments. We want to feel like pumped up after hearing about Cammie's story. So let's count down. So 3, 2, 1. Roar! Yay! I want to see the roars.
Thank you. See them in the comments, guys.
Absolutely.
Oh, there we go. There we go. Okay, that's why it took Gail so long. Look at that roar. That was a good one. Is it a Norwegian name? I need to go look that up now. Oh, Eric, he never lets me down. Thank you, Eric. In case you didn't know, Cammie, I've apparently been elected Picanha president. So
that's where I learned about it.
Yeah, see?
Me too. Thank you so much, everyone, for those amazing roars.
Absolutely.
I guess we'll see you next time. Same time, same day, Tuesday at 8 p.m. Eastern. Next week.
Yep. Thanks for coming on, Cammie. We had a great time with you. Bye, everybody.
Thank you. Bye. Thanks for watching.